Hello, so we're making our way through the process of working in the truck driving industry. You already have your license or you know how to get one. Next thing is, how do I fill out an application? How do I actually get hired? This is going to depend largely on what type of job you're trying to get. Okay, for example, if you go to a harvest operation or a custom cutter, working cutting wheat and driving the trucks to the granary type of job, your application is probably going to be a phone call. Do you have a CDL? Yes. Can you get to somewhere in Kansas? Seems like there's a lot of wheat up there. Wyoming, other places. Can you get there? That's the extent of the application. And I say, can you get to where they are, because they're mobile. They're going to be, maybe you go to a home office, however you do it. But mostly, you're not going to fill out anything for either of those types of jobs. Harvest, or to go to work on a farm, agriculture operation of some sort. Now, if you go to apply for a job at a co-op and you're hauling grain around, yes, you're going to have a minimum application. You're going to go to the co-op. They're going to want to see your driver's license. They'll probably check your motor vehicle report, your MVR. But my point is, different places or different sectors of the trucking business are going to have different procedures. The agriculture and the farming is going to be the least difficult. Sometimes right over the phone, make a phone call, come out here to the farm, let's meet you, and handshake, and so it begins. Now, as you get into more, if you're going to do regional or local, something local, you're going to work for a lumber store hauling lumber around town, or a place that sells bricks, or a concrete truck, or something where you come to work at 7 in the morning and you work your 9 hours and then you go home type of job. These are going to be, as far as filling out an application, the easiest, so to speak. If you go to a concrete company to drive a concrete truck, they're probably going to give you a piece of paper, or they're going to guide you to a website, and they're going to want to know your name, an address, a good phone number, email address. They're going to want to either see your MVR, or they're going to ask you questions about your driving record. And keep in mind that one thing to remember about an application of any kind, an application being something that you put information on a piece of paper, if you lie on that and they have the proof because you wrote it and you signed it, if you lie on one of those, that's a serious, you can go to jail for doing that. So rather than lie for any reason, if something comes up that you don't feel comfortable writing on a piece of paper, then you write in that square, "will elaborate verbally," or just leave it blank. But don't put lies in on a piece of paper ever, for even if it's just a farmer. Don't leave it blank. Talk to them in person, or get clarification what they mean precisely. But don't put misinformation ever on any application ever. Now, when you go to one of these larger, if you want to go over the road, or regional, which is over the road, just not as far, you're going to have more of a 3-part process rather than an application. If you go over the road, I've got one loaded up right here. This is Schneider. Schneider's been around at least since I started in the 80s. They were there, and they're still here today. Pretty big company. Now what they want kind of 3 parts. The first one is when they take your name, they don't usually, they don't ask your address or anything. They just want your name, a phone number, and some way to identify you, and I'll tell you why. They're running that through maybe not a credit check sort of a thing, but yes, something like that. They're just going to run your general information like through a credit check and see, for them it's a good sign if you exist, and 2, if you've got at least fair, and they can see, well, if he's got good credit, that immediately is a sign in the right direction for them, for a recruiter, for this is what they're looking for. And that's about it. And they're going to run that, and that's just like a preliminary. Before you even set up an account with them, they're going to want to just know this one here, Schneider. They want to know your name, an email address, and a phone number. And they've got a star by that phone number that if you can't give them a valid phone, that's already going to be a problem. So that's how the application starts. Call that part 1. Now, as you get through that portion, okay, let me back up. So really what we're talking about now is over the road. Over the road is a different type of application. It's a lot bigger, it's got a lot more stuff, a lot more questions than a application that you're going to get from your local lumber store to drive a truck for them or something. They're going to be 2 different types of applications. And obviously, if you've never worked driving a truck and you're trying to get some kind of experience, go to the local. It's going to be a lot easier to get hired local, Home Depot or working for a lumber store, that sort of thing, than it is to get hired for an over-the-road job. So let's separate those 2, and now we'll talk about over the road. Everybody at some point has a first time getting hired. You're not born with job experience. You have to, even the best of us, we had to get hired somehow, some way, and we had to fill out an application somewhere. So if you've never done that, or you're a little rusty, here's how you do it. Obviously, the simple answer is you go to the next phase of what I've got up here. I'm not going to fill this out because I don't. Something else you do, you're going to put yourself on a mailing list. A word of caution. There is going to be a big difference between if you go to a site like the actual trucking company, Schneider, which is, this one is apply.schneiderjobs.com. That's their official website to hire at the Schneider trucking company. But if you go to these findacdljob.com or wehire.cdl.com, what that is those people spread your information out to about 20 companies, and they get paid on whomever buys your information. So they are not they have nothing, these sites have nothing to do with trucking. And they will absolutely hound you to death if you put your information in there. They will send you emails, call you, text you. It's very inconvenient, and I've never had any luck with that way of going at all. So don't put your, let me load one up here. Okay, I've got this loaded up now, and yes, this is antique sort of a setup, but it's what I've already got. Yes, it's old, but it's all I've got for the moment. So, okay. Now look, first thing, this ad thing, I just put a search criteria, I just put trucking jobs. So, can y'all see? No, because you can't see here. Okay, let me just turn and look at it. Trucking jobs. Amazon Relay. No, don't go there. No, don't go to places like this. Ready, Set, Hire Trucking. No. Job list. No. All truck jobs. No. Do not go to these sites. Do not go to them. Do not browse their jobs. Do not use their resources. There is nothing. They are, I don't know, they're all a little bit different, but they are the, and no offense to anybody from any other country, but a lot of them come from different countries where they're well known for scams and schemes and other stuff. Indeed.com, to go there, maybe you might use that, maybe. I used Indeed.com to get feedback for the trucking company that I did actually go to. I kind of checked them out on Indeed.com. What did it say about them? Which I won't hide it because it doesn't matter. I haven't worked for them in 5 years. Britain Transportation or Logistics out of Grand Forks, North Dakota. Yes, and here you hear my southern accent. And I'm in the South right now, but I found a very good company. Their main office was in North Dakota, and I did drive for them for 15 months. My last over-the-road job I had ended in 2020. What I did was I looked around online. It took about 30 days. I looked at I started going to trucking kind of places. I forget. This was before Trucker Path was a big thing. That's a big thing now, Trucker Path. And they weren't in 2017, I don't think, because that's when I started, 2017. Oops, hold on. Okay, but the process, once I got satisfied that I'm going to I tried several companies. Britain Transport was one of them. Another one was out of Tennessee, and how I chose them, why I'll talk more about that. Today we're just talking about applications. But the procedure with them was I first did that, like I told you, they check your credit. So I got a link back in an email because I had put my email address. Apparently I had passed that portion, and so I got a link to an application which I filled out. Again, don't lie on these applications. Leave it blank if you're not sure how to answer. A recruiter will get back with you to help you get that application filled out properly. But you want to be prepared. You want to have obviously you want to know your name, your social security number. You want to know your driver's license number. They may, in today's computer age, they may ask for a picture of it. I don't remember doing a picture of my license, but I may have. They did at some point, because they're going to have a copy of your CDL. And so your application was all your experience. You're going to fill out your where you've been driving, addresses, contact information. You're going to fill out references, people that you know that they can get a hold of if something goes crazy. I think I can't. Your education, obviously, any trucking trade schools that you've been through, and basically they're getting a signature that this is the legal part here. That application is the legal part that they keep on file for the duration. If something down the road, and the reason they want these applications done correctly, this is for your all time. Down the road you have an accident and you had something on your driver's license, they missed it, then now they become somewhat liable. So they're actually taking on you. They're not just taking you as a driver, they're taking you as a legal liability against their company. Everything you do, however you, and it's all going to be on that application. That application will always be this is how Joe, John, Jimmy presented themselves, and this is what they attested to by signing the application. So, anyway. Last point, the exact questions. I don't know. Things have changed a little bit. Things are a little different in today's world. I'm not sure what they would be asking you, and I'm not going to carry one of these to the next stage just to find out. You'll have to discover that on your own. However, I would help anybody if I'm stuck on this. Sure, I'll help you. But I'm not signing my name because I'm not working. I'm not going over the road. And that's the last point. Once you get to the point of you're filling out these applications, you kind of need to be on standby. Same thing, going back to our farmer or our combine cutter, custom cutter that you're trying to get hired on with. When you get to the I'm filling out the application stage, you really need to be on standby and start readying yourself that, if you're applying for a job, you just might get one. It may move quicker than you think. In other words, by the time we come to the application, you want to have your standby bag kind of getting ready. You want to start thinking about, these things. How am I going to get to wherever? Where am I ready to go? Have I got everything? Do I have a bank account set up? Because you're going to need to put your money somewhere. Although now I think they probably Cash App and Zelle and PayPal and I don't know what else. But the main thing is good luck, seriously, getting approved. Hopefully the idea is that you understand the industry enough that you know the difference between the better, the best, and the adequate companies that you're applying for. And they pardon me, you can directly apply to them. Night Transport, Schneider. If you're brand new and you need training, there's a flatbed one, I'll think of it, that's been around for a long time. Brand new Peterbilts, black truck, gold trim. I can't think their name. It's like 3 letters or something. JSL, LB, something. I can't think of it. But you know, they've got a process to figure out how much you know on your application and how much they need to train you, and they usually have the resources to do that. And then, you know, getting you slotted into a truck and getting hired and going. So you know, if you've come this far, if you're thinking about applications, you're getting ready to roll. And by the way, I've done all of these that I suggest. I have been on a harvest crew. I worked for for a farm for 12 years. On the harvest thing, I called him over the phone. He told me where to be. He took a picture of my driver's license once I met him, but I was on my way to Alamosa, Colorado, to for Coors, barley for Coors. It was one of my first ag jobs I had, and that was probably 20-some years ago, I guess, maybe a little longer. Anyway, okay, we'll probably touch more on stuff, but getting into a truck is the first thing you need to do. The application's the way you do it. Pick a good company. We'll talk about that later. I didn't get to do my thing, so we're actually going to shut her down. Okay, and that's it for this video. Come back, tell your friends, have a good day. See you later.